In my latest IB math, physics, and business test, I got 7 out of 7. But that doesn't matter. What matters are your grades. You want the best grades, right? Which is why in this video, I'll show you how studying in the morning allowed me to get these amazing grades and how you can fully utilize this superpower to achieve the same results. So something that YouTubers barely ever do, but I wish they did more, is explain why we're learning something. Which is why I'm going to take some time out of this video to explain why waking up early in the morning allows you to get good grades. So think with me here. You had a stressful day, you just got back from school, from work, from whatever. You did your things to do after school, after whatever you were doing, and now you're getting ready for bed. You wouldn't study then, right? I mean, of course you're getting ready to bed, but if you weren't, you wouldn't study, right? Your brain is so fried, your brain is so tired that it can't study. You've been scrolling for like 10 hours. Who knows how long you've been scrolling for? I know this firsthand, so believe me when I say that my brain is wired. It just can't do anything after school or after like a big YouTube binge session. You wrap up your day, get ready for bed, and then you go to bed. You're not scrolling anymore. You're not on Instagram anymore. I mean, obviously you're sleeping, but you're not overloading your brain with dopamine anymore, right? You're actually doing the contrary of that. Your brain is releasing all these toxins, all this waste inside of it when you sleep. And it's basically prepping you for the next day. So then when you wake up, you might not feel fully energized, but your brain is at 100% its capacity. Your dopamine levels are at 100% its capacity. You weren't scrolling when you were sleeping, and if you did, that's a problem. You should probably cut out your scrolling addiction. Do it anyways, but you know what I mean. Your dopamine levels are at its peak. Your thinking capacity is at its peak. Your brain is not tired. It's not overloaded with information. It's perfect to study, which is why I wake up at 5 in the morning every single day, consistently for the past 2 to 3 years, just to study or do whatever I need to do, because I want to fully utilize my brain's power and my brain's capacity to learn, to problem solve, and to improve itself early in the morning. Now you might be thinking, you know, Rafa, that's great and all, but how the fuck do I wake up early in the morning? But don't worry, bro, Tato. I got you covered. Well, I'm gonna outline the steps that I took to build an effective sleeping routine that allows me to wake up early in the morning. First, I want you to define a wake-up time and a sleeping time, like a bedtime per se. You might be thinking, oh, but that's childish, I don't want to do that. Put your ego to the side and listen to me. By setting up this wake-up time and this bedtime, you're basically telling your brain, look, this is the time that we're gonna go to sleep, and this is the time that we're gonna wake up. But what does that mean, like cognitively? Bro science. But what this means is that your brain, when it gets close to that time, it's gonna start shutting down, it's gonna start winding down, it's gonna get ready for sleep, allowing you to optimize your sleep, allowing you to get the best sleep possible. And then by waking up consistently every day, your brain is going to start releasing the wake-up hormone, cortisol, at that time, consistent. Which is why, like for the first 2 weeks, it's gonna be really hard waking up this time that you defined. But after time goes on, it's gonna be less hard because your brain is already wired to release cortisol at the time. You can copy me if you want to, but I recommend you build out your routine and then see the best time you can do it. But for me, I try to sleep at 8:30 in the night and then wake up between 4:30, 5 in the morning. Make sure that when you're setting out this time, you get at least 9 hours of sleep, because that's been scientifically proven to be the best amount of time to sleep. Maybe this was bro science, but what I've seen is like 9 hours is peak sleeping time. If I can do it, you can also do it. There's no reason that you can't sleep early and wake up early. If me, someone who used to consistently sleep at 2 a.m. during school days, I was like year 9, I intentionally knew that I'd had school the other day, but I was just so busy playing Minecraft and Skyblock Hypixel that I didn't care about school. I just wanted to play. So I played into late into the night, like 11, 12, 1, 2 a.m. And if I was able to go from that to someone who consistently wakes up at 4:35 in the morning, then so can you. There's no point in waking up early in the morning to study if you don't even know how to study to get max grades. You can agree with me on this, right? Which is why I'm going to show you how to. So for those unfamiliar with the term 80-20, basically it means what's 20% of the work that you can do that will give you 80% of the result. Basically, what's the biggest bang for your buck that you can do for studying? Which studying technique will get you the best grades possible? And that's what we're going to do now. To find out the 80-20 of studying, let's look at what science has to say. Gates, 1917. This study shows that students remember the material that they learned better when 60% of their studying consisted of active recall. So what does this mean? Basically, instead of just reading the topic that you're learning alone, you should actually test yourself.
Come on, do math.
Spitzer, 1939. This study shows that if you test yourself soon after studying a topic, it almost completely prevents you from forgetting. Immediate testing is best, and this immediate testing consists about 0 to 7 days after learning the topic. Mr. Scientists, if you're watching this video, please forgive me for absolutely butchering your names. Roediger and Karpik, 2006. This paper shows that if you study something and after test yourself on it, you'll remember it for much longer. The exact time that you'll remember it is around a week and 2 days after studying. Thompson, Wenger, and Bartling, 1978. This study shows that if you test yourself and then restudy only the things that you got wrong, you're optimizing your long-term memory on that subject. Again, Mr. Scientist, if you're watching this video, I'm sorry for absolutely butchering your name. Wheeler, Ewers, and Buonanno 2003. Their study showed that testing was found to be better than studying the topic after you learned it. Agarwal et al. 2006. This study showed that short answer tests proved to be more efficient and better for your memory than multiple choice questions. So what's the overall message of all these studies? Basically, the overall message is that testing yourself on the content that you just learned is 100 million trillion gazillion times more superior than restudying what you learned. And if I ever catch you restudying the content that you learned, I will shoot you point blank and I will... Now that we know that the 80-20 of getting good grades is testing yourself on the content that you learned, what does that really mean? What is testing yourself? Basically, testing yourself is after you learn content, after you learn something new, instead of waiting a few days and then reviewing your notes. Do a practice test, do some open-ended questions. Go to a previous paper that has this content inside of it and study that. That's what I used to do actually. When I was studying for physics, I used to watch a YouTube video like Chris Dooner. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Chris Dooner, if you're watching this video. And I'd read an IB physics book, like the T. Sokos book. Then afterwards, I condense it using something called the Feynman method. I'll get into that later. And then afterwards, I would go over the book's practice problem and some IB past paper practice problems. So then not only would I cement this understanding in my head, I also better understand the test and I'm more well prepared to do it. That's why testing yourself is so OP, because not only does it let you remember what you learned and actually apply what you learned, which is the best way of remembering anything, it also allows you to get familiar with the test, which is insanely OP. Take my word, if you're not familiar with how your test is, everything is going to come at you as a surprise and you're going to crumble. At least that's what happened to me. Maybe you're like some super genius, then I don't think you'd be watching this. So before I mentioned something called the Feynman method, but I didn't explain what it was. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Basically, the Feynman method is this technique by the Nobel Prize winning physicist Richard Feynman that says, after you learn something, teach it to a 10-year-old who's an absolute dumbass and doesn't know anything about this topic. Now you might be thinking, what's the point of teaching it to someone that doesn't even know this topic? Well, why should I teach it? Well, teaching is actually one of the best ways to fully master a subject. Yes, you heard me right, master a subject. If you're able to explain it to someone in simple terms, like to a 10-year-old, you have mastery over the subject. You know the subject inside and out. You know the common mishaps that people go over. You know the things that people trip over, or the things that probably you didn't understand. And that's another reason why I love the Feynman method, because if you're not able to explain something simply, that means you didn't fully understand it. So then you should go back, retouch on the things you didn't understand, and then re-explain it. This is basically my studying method. If you want to copy me, feel free. What I do is I learn the topic, as I said before, and then I Feynman method it. I explain it to a 10-year-old as stupidly and as simply as possible. And then after doing that, after making sure I mastered and fully understood the subject, then I move on to practice problems and practice questions. If you utilize my studying techniques, not only will your problem solving improve, but your brain function will improve. I noticed that I've been able to understand things at a much greater degree and more complex things as well, because subconsciously, I'm just Feynman methoding the world. I don't want to toot my own horn, but that's what I do. I explain it to myself. I re-explain it simply, so then I fully understand it. And I also use this when doing past papers. Whenever I'm stuck in a question, I walk myself step by step through each process in the theory, so then I can answer the question. And that's why the Feynman method is so OP, because it allows you to fully master something by explaining it simply, and allows you to identify your weak points. And also a quick little note, every question that you get wrong, I recommend you make it into a little PDF, put the question there, and then redo that question. So then you can go back on your mistakes and you can fully understand why you got it wrong. Or unless you want to do that as you get it wrong. That's what I usually do, but I think it was important to put that disclaimer. So before I end off this video, I want to give you a quick CTA. CTA is a call to action. What I want you to do is I want you to make a sleeping schedule and a studying routine based on the information that you learned on this video. And afterwards, comment it down below so that I can give you some tips. And of course, YouTube stuff, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Turn on the post notification bell, ding ding. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just happy helping you. So I hope you have a great day and catch you in the next one.